We'll start in 2 more minutes. Waiting for everyone to join. Okay, let's start now. So yesterday we saw how we can call our AI APIs. We can call AI ChatGPT, we can call AI, we can give it personality, we can create some tasks. I gave you an assignment to do it on, I gave you an assignment to do the further Gemini calling. So today I'm going to show you how you can use these codes freely. You don't have to pay anything to ChatGPT. So what you can do is first you can import these libraries. Again, this library, OpenAI library, is for calling the API. The second library is the Google Colab library, which is for connecting to your Gemini key. So yesterday I showed you how you can create your Gemini key. Today we'll be using that here using this line, user data.get, and the key name that you have. Now, first part is chat completion API. What is chat completion API? We saw yesterday. Chat completion API is nothing but basically your simple chatbot. You have an input, you give an input, you get an output. That is your chat completion API. How you can call this? Again, you have to create a client. Now, what is a client? I told yesterday, but I'll give a brief again. Client is nothing but it acts as a user. So as a user, you are in real life. If we want to talk about code or programmatically, we call it as a client. In the client, you will be giving your Gemini API key and a base URL. Now this base URL is given by Google. So this you don't have to change. Only you can give your Gemini key. Then you can call the chat completions API. Chat completions API is your chatbot API. Where you are asking, where you're giving the system message. We talked about system message. System message is used to give your chatbot a personality. You are giving that you are a helpful assistant, and as a user, you are asking, explain me how AI works. The moment you hit this endpoint, the moment you call this or you run this code, you get a response as you get a response message, which we can see here. So this response message looks like AI works by enabling machines. It is giving you some data about that. Basically, it is explaining you how the AI works. But if I show you now, this is this much of data. What if you are asking an in-depth question? What if you are asking some reasoning question? There is some reasoning models, right? What if you are asking some quiz questions, or what if you want to solve a query that is having more of a logical reasoning based questions? In that case, there is one more parameter that you can give along with the model. So this is the Gemini model 2.5 Flash. These are your messages that we saw earlier. Only thing is you can here give this reasoning effort as three options. You can give them as low, medium, or high. So these three options can be given. If you select high here, it will give you a lot of in-depth reasoning with your question. The reason I'm putting here low is because there are some free credits that you get, and you might get some limitations or some hits on your tokens. So the reason that is why I'm selecting low for now. But even with low, this answer is better than the above answer because it impacts or it calls the reasoning model. Now here, if you see, the answer will be much better. Like amount of digital data, there are 3 pillars of modern AI, and the amount of answer will be slightly bigger as compared to the above answer. See, this answer is much more bigger. Then let's cover about streaming. So there are two ways you can get answer, something called as batch versus streaming. Batch is nothing but you ask question and get an answer. Get answer. But in streaming, you get that answer just like uh, you might have used ChatGPT, right? Here, when you ask it, it types side by side. It gives you that smooth animation that the answer is getting written. In the above, what we are doing, we calling that API, and when the response comes back, we see this response. But in the streaming option, you'll see something like this. Let me show you here. You will see this answer getting written right. Let me run this. See, here the answer is getting written with this. Let me rerun it again. You'll see the answer getting written here. So this is what streaming parameter does. Stream equals to true gives you batches of your answer. How it is going to look like? Let me rerun. Let me try running this. You'll see here. Let me make it 1 second, and this is how your answer will look like. It is getting written here. That is what your streaming API is. Now, we'll see a slight difference between a chatbot versus agent. Chatbot versus agent. What is a chatbot? Chatbot is nothing but where you have a user input, you are asking something, it is giving you a response back, and you are chatting with it. That is what a chatbot is. But what an agent is? The difference between an agent and a chatbot is when you give some question in your agent, it can behave like a chatbot, but also it will do some tasks. Let me change the color. Also, it will do some tasks. That is what the difference between an AI chatbot versus an agent is. What that means is, suppose if you ask a chatbot that what are all the companies that are currently hiring for maybe AI engineering role, it will give you a response. It will give you a response for that. But the moment agent will be basically, sorry, let me rephrase again. A chatbot is something you are asking a question where you are saying that give me all the companies that are having an opening for AI engineering. A chatbot will give you an answer for that. But when you ask the agent can also apply for those rules for you. That is the difference between a agent and a chatbot. Agent can do stuff, actual stuff for you. Agent can automate decisions for you. Now, how things work here is there is something called as function calling. When you use function calling, this is basically creates an agent. This is basically creates an agent. Let me just answer a question on the chat. Dhanya, you can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. I'll be sharing this there. I'm sharing my LinkedIn URL. You can reach out to me there. I'll share the link of this OneNote with you. Coming back to our topic, that is agents. So here we are defining a function. This is a very simple function which basically just gets the temperature. But here in this function, you can give as much automation you want. You can do WhatsApp messages. You can do automated emailing. You can do whatever you want to like here. These are all different functions that you can call programmatically. In this case, we are just using a simple function that will get us the temperature of a given location. Now again, how to define this function itself, it requires a decent amount of time. We can like have a separate class for this, but yeah, this is a difficult topic to explain in just like 5-10 minutes. But yeah, there is a specific set of functions which you can use, or there is a specific format which you can write here. Again, you create your client, you call the tools. So here you have something called as tool in which you will give this definition of your function. Then you can create a config file for the tools. Even you can skip the step. Then you will go to response and call generate content. When you say that you are giving the content that this is the temperature, what is the temperature in London, and you will get this config from here. How the age chatbot knows what the chatbot wants to do is because you have the content, you have the generate content API enabled or that endpoint enabled, and in the config you are passing your weather function. The moment you run that, you will get that which function it get called and what were the arguments it called. Here it is, I have not implemented any weather API which will actually get a weather option here. So it is just showing you that this function was called for this location as this argument. Because weather APIs are again not free, they are paid. So I didn't have pasted anything so that you can practice. But yeah, if you call that API call there, you can get back that response here as well. There is another way to or easier way to call the functions. That is via OpenAI library. So you can import the OpenAI library. Again, you will create your client. In the tools, you can give the definition of your function. Similarly, how we give that there above, we'll give the definition of the function and there is a required parameter called as location. You can also give your units on which whether you want, again, these are all options when we'll talk about agentic frameworks, when we talk about how to build agents, that is where we talk about all these things. In the message, we have this role, content is what's the weather like in Chicago in Celsius. Again, it calls the chat completion API, messages, tools, and in tool choice, it is auto. Again, tool choices, if you have more than one functions connected, then your API will or your endpoint will be smart enough to fetch that specific detail. And here we can see the response. It used the chat completion API. Let me show you. It is calling our function as well. So our function gets called here. This is a very basic flavor of how agents are made. I was doing something today. Let me show you something. I have also created one agent where this is not about part of our course, but I'm just showing you here. Basically, I'm trying to sync my Google Drive into my GitHub and I was creating a agent. So that's a separate tool called as N8N. This is a drag and drop tool where you can do stuff or do the automation. So whatever I am doing here programmatically, same thing can be done in a workflow in a drag and drop fashion there. Yeah. Next is image generation. Again, I don't have an option for image generation yet because it's a paid option from Gemini. So this is the code you can use to generate an image. Basically, just like here you are calling client.chat.completions, here you will call client.images.generate. That is the only difference. Rest everything looks the same. We'll just give the model. Model here will be image generation model. We'll give the prompt and you will get back a response. But yeah, what we can do is we can use an image understanding. That is free option available given with Gemini, where we can see from Google, we will import the libraries. We have our image path. This image is nothing but a biryani image. We will use this image, feed it into our client. Our client is again models.generate content. Model is Gemini Flash. And we are asking what is the contents in this image. Like basically what we are asking is, can you describe this image to me? And we'll get a response back that this image is of biryani, rice, it is giving some details how it is cooked. With this simple way, you can call.
पानी बंद है, मैसेज आया था, भूल गया। पानी आ रहा है, पर बोल दो। Dear hostlers,
Next, if you want to use it, the separate copy, you can use that. So that was with the image URL. If you have a copy here, you can use. Somebody is writing. Can you stop writing? Share my screen again. Next is our video understanding. So how you can use this video understanding API. Here, similar part, you will call the model.generate content. You will give the model here. Then you can call the file data. So I'm passing it a YouTube video here. That video will have so that video is actually 1 hour and 50 minutes. We don't want that to be there. So we'll give the start offset, basically 12 minutes and 15 minutes. So for these 3 minutes of portion, give me a summarizer of this video. The moment we do that, we have our response that there is this person, DMS, who is introducing Google's DeepMind and reflecting the pursuit of artificial intelligence. So it is basically summarizing this. See, with this simple projects, right, with even these simple projects, you can create a lot of things. You can show a lot of value to your interviewers that how you are creating projects. You can do a lot of different things with this. Like, you can create a video summarizer, you can create a video transcriber. And with AI, it is this simple. And because of free APIs like Gemini, Hugging Face, you can do these very easily, even as a student itself. Next, we have our output structure. Output structure is basically how we can customize our LLM so that it returns in a specific format. So this is helpful when you are automating some APIs, when you have created an API, when you have created some application where you want to hard code the output in a specific scenario. What that means is, first of all, again, we'll set up our client with the key. Then we will call our completions and we'll say that there are John and Susan are going to have an AI conference on Friday. Now we're saying that 2 people are going to have a conference on Friday, and this is a calendar automation agent which will fetch this information and create a meeting invite for you. Now, how to do that is, we will give in the response format, we'll give a class. We have created a class called as calendar event, which is inherited from base model. See, again, classes, inheritance, all these are Python basic concepts, Python OOPS concepts. So if you are good with that, you can use this easily. So calendar event is inheriting base model. In the base model, you can just directly give your name as string, date as string, and participants list. In this format, you will get your response based on whatever text you have given. That is where the power of AI comes. That is where all these automations are made so simple. You can easily just plug in an Outlook API here and start creating your meeting invites. I'm also working on a project where I'm trying to create meeting invites automation. And yeah, so these all things are needed there. With all these small concepts, you can create a very beautiful project. You can show a lot of value in your projects, and interviewers do like it when you do some extra steps. So these base model things, these are very advanced concepts. Even in industry with 1 year folks, with 1 year experience folks, they don't touch these base models or they don't touch these outputs. Leverage this time and study it. If you're watching the recording, feel free to practice these concepts with yourself. Okay. And today's final topic again, embedding generation. So if you want to generate some embeddings, you can create your client. You will be having your responses. In your response, you will be having the embeddings created. For the folks who joined just now on Zoom, let me share my LinkedIn. If you have any questions, feel free to ping me on my LinkedIn or email me directly. Yeah. So this was the assignment that I gave yesterday, that you have to explore Gemini API key and you can practice multiple things. Next weekend, we have 2 classes left. Next weekend, we'll do the image reading. We'll go beyond image reading using Hugging Face. Hugging Face. We'll use these libraries. We'll even see how multiple things, again, the biryani image that I was talking about. You'll see prompt engineering techniques. You will be having enough depth of it. And here, see, you will be loading your own local model. So I'm using a 4 GB model here. We'll be using that next in the next class. And in our final class, the fourth class, we will be creating a project where you will create an AI tutor for yourself, which will help you study any topics you want. So let's meet next weekend. For today, I'll stop sharing. Why my screen is shared? Okay. I'll stop sharing now. Now it's the Q&A time. Anyone has any questions, feel free to put it on the chat. This was about the assignment yesterday we covered. For YouTube folks, you can put these in the live chat. For Zoom folks, you can put it in the chat. I'll be taking any questions if you have. And I have that code. Sheikh, I'm already sharing this. I would recommend just type that code automatic. You should type that code. I should not give you that code and you just copy paste it. It's a very simple line, like hardly 10 lines each cell is there, right? So practice it, write your own self. It will be better for you. Even if you still want that code, you can ping me on my LinkedIn and yeah, I can share the code with you. I'm saying we guys don't know the basics. So if you don't know the basics, Nanda, you saw the YouTube recording for yesterday. That was the day one. Today was the day two. So yeah, you are in middle of the course. So watch the yesterday's recording and then come back to this today's recording on YouTube and you'll see that. Any other questions? Anyone? We'll wait till 1:35. If no questions, we'll drop for today. And in the next class, we'll saw our Hugging Face libraries. We can stop YouTube hosting ID Globe team. Already shared the LinkedIn profile link here for YouTube. We are done for today. We are waiting for questions if there are any. So one question is, what is the scope for AI agent freelancing? Devansh, freelancing is something that in, includes luck as well. So I would recommend start creating projects, go for freelancing, but start applying for jobs as well. Don't only wait for jobs or don't only wait for freelancing. You should apply or do both. Ramash, does that answer your question? Anyone else? Any questions? Anything? Sure, Sheikh, I'll do that. Okay. If no questions, one last final call. Any questions, anyone? Not. Let's meet our next weekend. Have a good day, everyone. Just bye.